A haunted warehouse. I was stationed in Quantico 2004 to 2006. I worked in a supply warehouse for HMX1 just across train tracks from OCS. The warehouse was a morgue during the Second World War. They would bring the bodies in by train. Many of us who had duty over the weekend and those of us who were alone on an overnight had experiences. This is a third-story building, large aircraft parts and two small offices first floor, second floor all consumable small parts, and third floor mostly office, with a small gear issuing space outside the office. On one of my Saturday duty stints, I had just done turnover and locked the warehouse doors. Aside from our CO and staff duty, for the shop nobody had keys. A few minutes later, the door buzzer goes off. I head down, it's just the MPs doing a security check. Fast forward to around 9 p.m. I'm sitting at my desk, just reading a book. I hear footsteps on the tile near the top of the stairs. I had heard nobody come up the metal stairs. I looked back and decided I was just hearing things. I heard the steps again a few feet behind me and then they just stopped. I searched the entire office. Nobody, no extra cars in the lot. I had heard the place was haunted, so I just went back to my book. A few hours later, in the gear issue area, just outside the office near the freight elevator, I heard a flatbed cart squeakily rolling around. I got up and went to check the area. Nobody, nothing out of place. There wasn't even a flatbed cart on the third floor. All were on the first floor when I went to check. I was a little wary going to sleep that night. The Thump. I work at a 21 square feet warehouse where it is poorly lit. Every shadow I see, I play it off as my mind is playing tricks on me. One day I had to close. I locked every roll-up door, made sure the docks and parking lot were lit in case we get intruders, we do. I went up to the second floor, shut off every computer, and closed every door and shut the lights off. Last thing to do was to set the alarm. I asked my coworker if everything was locked. Yes, all lights off? Yes. Okay, let me just set a thump. A huge thump came from the place I just checked. It was loud. It sounded like someone tripped and fell. Coworker and I looked at each other, set the alarm and left. None of us had the balls to go check what had happened. The warehouse I worked at is haunted. Short story from a guy I know. So, this guy that I sometimes talk with during my workday was with me during a Saturday overtime job. He used to work in a different area in the building. It was a small, caged-off area that not many people come around. We work with computer parts and all kinds of things, so he had a stack of very large and heavy printer toners in his area he was working on. They were in a pyramid formation, with 4 on the bottom, 3 on top, and so forth. So he goes to scan them, and the toner cartridge box in the middle of the stack pushes out an estimated 10 inches. He got freaked out as he was alone in the area. He then pushed it back, flush with the rest of the boxes. He noted it was very heavy to push, and still hasn't had any explanation for it. At work. This was during work. Old warehouse, bad lighting, weird noises, and alone. I was sitting at my desk. My coworker had a styrofoam cup with water on his desk. At the time, I didn't know it had water. I had to go downstairs, so I stood up and I heard something tip over. I noticed that the cup had tipped over, and I thought to myself it was the draft from the vent that blew the empty cup, fuck it. I'd take 3 more steps as I tried to exit the office and it hit me. A strong lavender smell. For sure perfume. It gave me chills. The smell itself lasted for all about 5 seconds. I thought to myself, it was the sweater I was wearing, right? Nope. I decided not to tell my coworker cause he scares easily. I sat on my desk the next morning and my paperwork were wet. I asked my coworker if his cup had water in it. He said, yeah? There was no way a breeze could knock that cup over. Had to be a rat or me knocking it over by accident, right? But I was a few steps away when I heard the cup fall, so I didn't knock it over. Then the perfume, the smell of perfume right after. I seriously can't explain it. Guess I'll mention this as well. A couple weeks before, it was me and my coworker doing inventory in the warehouse. We were talking and I heard someone call my name. I paused with a confused face. My coworker tells me, right? Yep, I heard it too. We were the only ones there. Ghosts at the workplace? Hey guys, you may remember me from a thread I posted a few months ago, detailing some of the paranormal stuff that's happened to me during my life. Well, I'm here for another post, this time describing something that's been going on at my job for a while now. I'm sorry for how long this may be, but I wanted to make it clear how my job works. I work as a night shift overnight guard at one of our 4 buildings, but I have worked the day shift in other 3. The 2 where we have the most activity will be called S and H. The S is the building I currently work at, but I started working at the H during the day, but did the holiday overnight shifts there from November to December. Now, there had always been rumors about these places being haunted by former employees. We do have a lot of older folks that work here, and unfortunately pass away every now and again. But I thought it was just jokes to scare the new guards, but in the recent months, it's becoming an issue, especially at the H. So much so that the management has been asking about it. I've been working here for almost 6 years, so I'm going to try my best to remember every incident by chronological order and to the best of my ability. Not all of them that have happened to me. Most of them haven't actually, but this also plays into the story as whatever is haunting these 2 buildings either ignores me or actually is afraid of me. I'll explain why when I get to it. Event 1. This happened about 2 months after I started. I was working the overnight shift at the H, and I was having the time of my life. All I had to do was a 30-minute walk around the building every 2 hours, and after that, I could sit in the office, hook up my Xbox to the plasma screen TV, and just watch movies or play video games. However, during one of my walks, I was passing by a catwalk. I started hearing boxes moving, like someone was working. I sighed. Looks like someone got locked in again. It was early enough in my shift that it could have been someone who lost track of the time and kept on packing. I turned around and looked up, and for a split second, I saw a man wearing the company uniform, gray shirt and jeans, putting stuff away. Then I blinked and he was gone. I quickly ran up the catwalk, but no one was there. The noise had stopped, and nothing was out of place. I searched the whole area and even rewound the camera we had trained on the section and saw nothing besides me looking for something that wasn't there. When I told my manager what happened in the morning, she smiled and said, "Yeah, that sounds like the ghost of someone's father who used to work here. People say they see him around that area all the time, packing and picking stuff." I never saw him again after that. Event 2. This happened to my manager a few months after. She was shutting down the lights for the day when she saw something move across the floor. She thought it was a worker who had been using the bathroom and called out to him. She was ready to give him hell too, since she saw him wearing a hoodie and those are not allowed on the floor. Whatever it was, she said, charged at her while floated really fast. She told me she never felt so much dread in her life and ran back to the office where we were. I remember seeing her really upset and panicked, and that was the scariest part. This was a woman who has worked in our stores and has taken down and dealt with shoplifters and thugs much bigger and scarier than herself. We took our flashlights and searched the floor but found nothing. Again, we looked at the cameras but only saw her running away. So it could not have been a worker or anyone else. Hell, if it had been, they would have tripped an alarm when they left, so no such incident happened. Event 3. This happened a bit closer to now, only about a year ago. A new guard named Nick was doing the same thing as my manager in the previous story, shutting down the lights at the H, when again, he saw someone in a hoodie, this time just standing there. Like my manager, he thought it was a person who was left behind and was about to tell them to go home. The thing in the hoodie just turned towards him, and he said he felt like the air around just go cold. He got goosebumps and started to shiver. This was in July, and our warehouse does not have a good AC. He hoofed it back to the office and told my manager. She told him the story above, and they both concluded something is in this warehouse. I was not there for this event as I was long gone, working the overnight shift at the S. He told me this story when he came in one early morning, and now refuses to work overnights at the H. Event 4. This happened back in September to me. I was working my normal overnight shift at the S, not the H, when I got up to go to the bathroom. After making the trek and doing my business, I began making the trek back up the aisle. I saw someone standing at the end of it, and assumed it was the overnight shipping manager who was waiting for me to get out. Just as I am about to wave to him telling him it's all clear, I realize it's something in a hoodie. Before I can even react, it charges at me at a speed I've never seen a human run before. I tense up and prepare for impact. When I wake up in the office, I'm confused as hell, trying to figure out what the heck just happened. I don't have to use the bathroom anymore, so I didn't just fall asleep. The creepiest part is, I checked the cameras and I indeed went to the bathroom and came out, but I just walked back to the office like nothing happened. I didn't have a camera trained on the aisle I used to come back, but I didn't look hurt or scared when I re-entered the office, but I don't remember falling asleep either. I don't know what the hell happened, but I can't find any reasonable answer to what may have happened. Event 5. This is several stories combined into one. This happened back in November of 2016, so it just happened. This happened to me, the guard Nick, and two new guards named Josh and Melly. They're all separate stories, but all happened around the same time. This is at the S. The third floor of the S at night is creepy as hell, I'll admit. A big floor with catwalks, clothes hang on racks, and when the wind blows, the vents creak and slam. I've always heard stories of something being up there, but never saw or encountered anything until this year, when we got a batch of new guards who also did the overnights on my days off. Nick and Melly had been hearing stuff on the third floor for a while now. Nick has said he has heard stuff slamming into the ground and roof, and on non-windless days, and has said to seeing clothes move and fling back and forth by themselves, even when there is no source to move them at all. Melly claims the same thing, but says when she goes upstairs and tries to Facebook call with people, she'll get unexplained static. Not disconnected from the call, but strange static, until she leaves the third floor. Josh again says he has seen the same thing, but this time, he felt something or someone push him just as he was about to enter the stairwell. It's a light tap, but scary nonetheless, right? And then there's me. I could always feel something was wrong, or just off about the third floor now. Something was watching me like a predator to prey. Then, one day, while I was turning on lights, I felt it more intense than I had ever before. Like it was creeping up on me. Cold fingers brushing against my shoulders, but I was having a bad night, so I shouted, "Fuck off and leave me alone!" I was not having this Casper the asshole go shit tonight. The most amazing thing to me is I felt it back off suddenly, like someone who was surprised. Whenever I went upstairs from then on, and still do, I can feel it watching me, but now at a much more cautious distance, no longer feeling like a predator's gaze, but more so either out of curiosity or fear. I even attempted to talk to whatever this thing is, looking completely friggin' insane, but I'm by myself up there, so I don't really care. I never got a response, besides feeling being watched. This has confused me a lot, since if this thing likes to screw with other people who have told it to go away and it has not, why did it listen to me? Event 6. This is the final event, and not more so an event, but really something that's been ongoing even. At the S, things have calmed down, but at the H, things are just getting worse and worse every day. Every day, more and more people are claiming they see the hooded figure even during the daytime shifts even. Like I said, it scared people so much that even management has been questioning what to do about it. That's it really. I'm gonna try to gather any more stories any of the other guards may have told me. I'm sorry for the length of this post, but this is something that's really starting to interest me. I just wonder a few things. I wonder if the S and the H have two different entities, or if they're the same one that can travel between the buildings, as they are only within walking distance of each other. Another question I may have is, why in the world are these things becoming so active now? Nothing really has changed in the past, I don't know how long. We have done light construction, yes we have, but nothing that would actually be big enough or to the size that would disturb things or disturb anyone's remains. Just tearing down a catwalk and basically putting new stuff in, and then even some of these sightings have happened long before that work has even started. Okay, I'll just say this before I go now. I'll be honest. I want to find more answers about these things or this thing. I'm again sorry for the length of this post, but I'll happily answer any questions or even any advice or your own similar experiences anyone may have had with this sort of thing or entity, like the hooded man. The one at the S isn't really bothering me much, and I don't work overnights at the H to really interact with whatever is affecting it, so it's not a huge problem. Honestly, I'm just curious for answers right at this moment.